Hello, everyone. My guest today is Paul Fifield. He's an entrepreneur with 18 years experience in founding and scaling global companies. Over the past 7 years, he's grown 2 international tech businesses from 0 to 70 million in combined sales as CRO and 500 million bucks in total value. He's also raised over 100 million bucks of investment across all stages. Paul, you ready to take us to the top?
I am indeed.
All right. What were those 2 companies? What was your last CRO role?
Last CRO role was a company called Unidays in the student space.
Mm-hmm. And what was it before that?
Previous to that was a company called Seros. I don't know if you've talked to anyone there, but yeah, they just did a big secondary of 100 million about 5 months ago.
Okay. Now, did you have equity in those businesses, or you joined too late?
No, I had equity. Yeah,
that's good. So what the hell are you doing on a call with me then? You should be rich on a private jet.
Because I'm building something else that's way more important than those 2 companies.
What are you building?
So in my journey as CRO, starting at Seros, where I was kind of like EVP of sales, I moved to New York. We raised, this is back in like 2011. We raised, a Series A from Greycroft. And I was kind of thrust into this role as like EVP of sales. And everybody around me was going, well, now you just got to build a kind of scalable, repeatable revenue model. Just get on with it. It's just like, wow, this is pretty scary. I've moved my whole family to New York. I just raised capital. I've always had commercial like roles, but it was like massive sink or swim time. I literally through my sort of 15-year career in sort of sales and revenue leadership, I've never felt entirely comfortable in the role, because I've known that I've got these kind of like huge gaps in my learning. And what I'm trying to do now is basically build a complete kind of like education platform for basically, every major persona in a sort of B2B SaaS company, right from CRO right down to like the SDR, and try and kind of fix this knowledge problem with just very high quality live education.
So when did you launch this, Paul?
October last year.
Okay, so 2020. And what it looks like pricing wise, there's a bunch of different options. What are customers paying on average per month to get access to your course?
In dollars, the average is about $15,000 a year, and that gives access up to now about 20 people. We've kind of evolved the pricing quite a few times over the past year, but we're now about.
How many customers do you have today?
So we have just about 100 customers.
100 customers. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And are these usually brands? Are brands typically paying for this for their heads of sales?
Yes, the companies typically pay that. Like the head of sales is typically a sort of like decision maker, stroke buyer, and they're buying it for their teams basically to have like a scalable kind of education site like solution. And we're doing about 1.5 million in ARR already in about 12 months of selling.
And where did you finish 2020 at? What was run rate last month?
We finished 2020 on 1.5.
Sorry, actually, instead of run rate, what was total sales in 2020? You were only selling for a couple of months, but what was total sales?
So we ended the year on 1.5 million in ARR, basically.
Yeah, that's run rate. What was total sales? Yeah. You only were selling for October, November, December.
Yeah. Oh, you mean in 2019?
You said you just launched last year, 2020, in October. Correct?
Oh no, sorry. Sorry. No, we launched in October 2019.
Guys, it's not last year anymore.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. So what did you do in 2019 in total sales?
Oh, 2019 was small. We had about 15 customers. So yeah, in ARR, probably about 100, maybe like 100,000 back then.
Yep. Okay.
So the majority of the sales happened last year.
Yeah. And take me through how you got those first 1 or 2 customers. Where'd you find them?
Probably like network. I've been doing a lot of when I left Unidays, I did a lot of like voluntary teaching, and so that's where I sort of discovered this kind of like problem existed kind of almost everywhere in sales. So I built up a pretty good network, and we just hustled the first few customers. And we literally started with maybe like with just 2 of us. And we had like 3 or 4 decks, and we had a couple of courses. But we immediately, when we launched the business, we wanted to do it on subscription, because one of the main problems in sort of sales education, if you like, is a lot of the solutions, whether you're looking for an expensive consultancy firm or an expensive consultant, they come in and it's one hit. Whereas what we're creating, I guess the category that we're trying to create is we're calling sales education as a service. So you literally subscribe to this, and we repeat our courses 5-6 times a year.
The challenging part is, though, if it works, people don't need you anymore because it works, right? So you're always going to catch 22, and this is why every person that runs a membership course that I ever talk to, they always have a churn issue, and they never have a good answer for it. So if you should have a churn issue if your product is working, correct?
No, because, and then this is why. Number one, like we're like 20% done in terms of the catalog, right? So we've got a huge amount of like courses and education to create, and so just that continued volume is a little bit like Netflix, right?
Paul, what is the number though? I mean, we can just look at this from the number. What is churn?
Yeah, we have 100% net dollar retention, basically,
but on a gross basis, gross revenue churn.
It's a bit tricky because some of the early clients we brought in were just kind of wrong because we didn't really have a nailed on ICP. But looking, so last year we had like 10 customers in the last quarter, and 7 of them have stayed. So it's like 30% churn, but it's not really reflective of going forwards. I think our ICP got very tight in like this time last year, and I'd say I'm not expecting high churn. And here's the thing,
Paul,
right?
that's really high though. If in last quarter you had 10 customers sign up and today only 7 are still active, I mean, that's 30% churn in 3 months. That's on pace to be like 120. You're going to turn your whole customer base in 12 months.
Yeah, but it's not reflective of going forwards. I think any company that starts out, right, any SaaS company, any company, you're just trying to learn who gets the most value from your product. So we had a bunch of like non-ICPs. But of the ICPs, we had 100% like.
So who is you must have this very clearly defined then. What is your target today?
B2B, like tech companies, like leaning heavily to SaaS, Series A to Series D.
Why can't bootstrap companies use you?
To be honest with you, like you're going to start to get quite a lot of churn back then. And some of the churn was like super early stage companies. The most value you get, and this is to talking to your kind of like churn question, the reason why we're not going to experience churn is that, and I experienced this when I was growing uni days. I went from, a handful of people to 100 people over the course of like 3 years. So you're constantly adding headcount, whether that's SDRs, your CSM team, your AEs, like management layers, all of that stuff, plus your B2B marketing function. And as you're piling those people in, they all have varied skills, good habits, bad habits. And what we're able to do with our platform is that, eventually every single member of your team will go through these courses as they join the company, and that will level the skill base across the team.
So someone joins a company that's paying for your thing. One of the first things in the onboarding deck is you have to go through these 10 courses and 10 hours on Paul's Academy.
Yeah, but we're like a pretty integral part of a lot of companies onboarding now.
Well, so yes, if finishing my question, it's top down, right? Like I imagine, right? It's sort of like a CRO saying you must use Salesforce. Why? Because that's how they track metrics, even though salespeople hate it. So what I'm curious is, how do you actually measure consumption of your course from the people actually taking it?
Yeah. Well, there's a number of ways. I mean, obviously, we're through the learning management platform that we have. We can see usage.
Who do you use? What's your LMS?
So we're actually moving to Docebo.
But who do you use now?
We're using now. Oh God, I actually literally can't remember. I just had 2 weeks off and my brain's gone to mush.
Okay, no problem.
Can't remember now. But anyway, so we got usage metrics in there. We're also tracking at the end of every course. We have a survey.
I think you're using Learn-Upon, by the way, but I'm not sure.
Thank you very much. How did you know that?
We do research.
We are using Learn-Upon. Thank you. Yeah, and look, we do a ton of like customer surveys. Our NPS score is like 49. Harvard Business School is like 41. I had a customer, Matt Harris from Brand Ambassador, say like his actual problem is that people are doing too much rather than too little.
Yeah.
So
I just can't figure out why you're doing this. So like your best time to spend, if you really believe what you're teaching, is to go do this and have equity inside of a company and go earlier and earlier, join earlier and earlier in a new tech company so you can get a larger chunk of equity. Like, why are you not doing that?
It's a bit messy to go down that end and start taking equity. What we want is a really like just very frictionless model. And we actually just signed, we're announcing this on the 19th of January. We just signed a global partnership with the Revenue Collective. So every single Revenue Collective member, of which there's 4,000, gets a single user access to SIA. The combined revenue of the Revenue Collective membership companies is about $1 trillion. So we've got a very, we've got a 2-year partnership with them, which we've struck. That's going to be absolutely huge. And that is kind of getting us like firmly into ICP. Those revenue leaders get access to our world-class education, and then we sort of upsell the academy to them. That's a nice, simple. There's no kind of equity discussion. It's literally per seat model after 20 seats per region, and that's the core business.
Got it. How many people are on your team today?
30.
And have you bootstrapped this or raised capital?
We raised £300,000, about $400,000 in a convertible loan note, and we've been cash flow positive for the last 3 months.
How cash flow positive? Like how much to the bottom line each month?
A bit, maybe like $10,000.
Okay. So barely profitable, which is great. It's better than not being profitable.
Yeah.
Where are you of the 30 people on your team? How many are engineers?
0.
Okay. How many sales reps with quota?
We now have 3 AEs and 4 SDRs.
They all have quota or no?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Interesting. And what do you set the quota at for the AEs?
The quota is in sterling. It's like 68,000 of ARR a month.
Got it.
So that's about
it's like about
$900,000 a month.
800. It's about $1 million of new ARR per year.
Yeah.
So obviously you're not at 7 million in ARR, but you have 3 reps. I mean, how do you get them to ramp faster? Like what's the choke point right now?
Well, we've got. Well, to be honest with you, we had 2 AEs start in November, and they both closed like about about $30,000-$40,000 of revenue, like in December. So they ramp pretty fast. The beauty of having like a sort of content model like we have is that we don't have very complicated like integration, all that kind of stuff, and the product is relatively sort of easy to understand. Actually the problem is really, really acute, and we're getting a huge pull from the market.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think you'll be at by the end of 2021 in terms of run rate?
I think we'll be at 7 million.
All right. We'll have to come back on at that point. In the meantime, though, let's wrap up with the famous 5, Paul. Number 1, favorite business book.
Favorite business book. Wow. I do love Mark Roberge's Sales Acceleration Formula.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Without sounding too corny, I mean, obviously, Elon Musk is pretty huge. I love the book.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building the company?
Probably Zoom.
What is it?
Zoom.
Oh, Zoom. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
5.
And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Divorced, child, single.
One kiddo?
Yeah.
Okay. And how old are you?
45.
45. Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Not to get, from a business perspective, not to get into a business model that is not recurring.
Guys, there you have it. Sales Impact Academy. He helped a bunch of other companies grow from, call it 10, 20 in ARR up to much larger amounts, combined value of $500 million in terms of valuation. Now teaching other sales leaders how to do this. He's got about a $1.5 million run rate today, up from just 100,000 12 months before that. 100 customers paying on average about $1,100 per month, again, for this training. They're not churning because he's adding new content every month. We'll see if he can keep it going and grow to 7 million by the end of 2021. Paul, thanks for taking us to the top.
Good summary. Thanks.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.